Now, I was speaking on three things that cannot decrease or increase. Three things that cannot decrease or increase. Now, there may be more as we study the will of God, but for this message, my emphasis is on three. Number one is mercy, number one is love, and number two is love, number three is peace. You see, God cannot love you more, and God cannot love you less. As far as God is concerned, the matter of love, peace, and mercy is settled. Why? Because there are things that God is at the peak of. God is at the peak of love. So there's nothing you can do to make him love you more. No. God cannot decrease in love the same way he cannot increase in love. He is already at the peak of love. It's only human beings that can increase in love or can decrease in love. Why? Because we are not at the peak of it. So you do something for a person will say, with this thing you have done, my love for you has increased. That's because he's a human being. And that's true because human beings are not at the peak. It's only God that is at the peak. So the same love God has for sinners is still the same love God has for the saints. And it's because of this equal love, it is this equal love that makes way for forgiveness. Because if God is not at the peak of love, then sinners will not be forgiven. Are you there? That is what makes it easy for God to forgive. So we must understand that God is at the peak of peace. He can't be more peaceful and he cannot be less peaceful. He's already at the peak. He can't reduce in peace. God is at the peak of mercy. He can't be more merciful and he cannot be less. No, he's already at the peak. He cannot reduce in it and he cannot increase in it. So when you hear people say, you have to do this so that God will love you more, it's not true. Because God is at the peak of love. He cannot reduce in love and he cannot decrease in love. But we humans, human beings are not at the peak. So you need to keep doing things so that the love can keep increasing. Now, human beings can grow in love, but God does not grow in love because he has reached the peak. If you are not at the peak, you need to grow. You need to keep growing in that thing. So human beings needs to keep growing in love. We need to keep growing, even in relationships. You hear cases like, don't worry, the love is growing. With time, we'll get there. That's actually a statement of reality. Man grows in love. Are you there? But God does not grow because he is at the peak. I hope you get this message. So there's nothing you can do to make him love you more or to make him love you less. Even when you are in sin, God still loves you. If God will stop loving you because you are in sin, the implication is that you will never gain forgiveness because it takes love to forgive. So the proof that God loves, whether you are in sin or you are a saint, is forgiveness. If God can still forgive your sin, it means the love he has for you has not reduced. As you get what I'm saying, the Lord will help us in Jesus'